Hello and welcome to episode 124, maybe? Who knows? Some yarn just arrived actually, which I haven't opened yet because I thought I would wait and open it on the podcast. I think I know what it is. And I've done a bit of ripping back. I've made a bit of progress and then ripped back a bit more, so we'll get to that as well. If you're new here, my name is Anniken. I design knitting patterns, I teach knitting workshops online and in person, and I sell yarn through my website YarnAddict.co.uk. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. So what should we start with this week? I have a new workshop this autumn. I've forgotten to write down the dates, but they will be on my website and in my newsletter this Thursday, which is the way this video goes out. So I will link to the page on my website that has all my workshops, and also make sure you sign up to my newsletter because that's how you'll find everything that's going on. So I'm teaching at Stitchfest in Devon. It's a Newton Abbot race course in Devon, first weekend in November. I'm teaching there on the Saturday. I'm doing a professional finishing techniques workshop, half day. If you only ever take one workshop, that should be the one you take. Regardless of your experience, whether you're a newish knitter or a very experienced knitter, if you knit garments, you probably can learn something from that workshop. We will cover things like sewing up, mattress stitch, short row shoulder shaping, 3 needle cast off, which is a really good way of joining the shoulders and the way I usually do it, picking up stitches, 1 row buttonholes. So I am really excited to be back at Stitchfest this year. I'm teaching there. It's the first Saturday in November, and then I go to Norway a couple of days later. So when I'm going to Norway, I am going up to Wales to stay with my daughters on the Monday. And then my youngest daughter and I go to Norway on the Tuesday. So teaching on the Saturday, Wales on the Monday, Norway on the Tuesday. So very, very busy, but I'm really excited I can fit it in. And I'm teaching in the morning, so that means I can stay on for the afternoon, have a look around the show, and hopefully do a bit of shopping and then go home and pack for Norway. So I will put the link to their website below. You can book the workshops now. Do check it out. I'm also have 3 new dates at Spinny Yarn in Bobby Tracy in Devon this autumn. But again, I forgot to write them down, so they will be on my website, which I'll link to below, and in my newsletter as well this week. My workshops are in my newsletter every week, so make sure you sign up. And then don't forget my Natalia knitting retreat in Italy next year, April. I'll link that below as well. Week-long knitting retreat in central Italy. I'm so excited about it. So do make sure you check that out. And 3 bags full in Liskeard in Cornwall in October. I will be at the wool market first Saturday in October. And then I'm teaching some workshops in Liskeard in the following 2 weeks after that. They're also on my website now. And Yarndale, I think it's the last weekend in September. I am teaching there as well, but I think that workshop is fully booked. But I will also have a stall at Yarndale. So I forgot to write down all the dates because I kind of thought they were in my head, but they're not. So do go and check them out. They're all on my website, and I'll link the page below. Right, let's start with the parcel that arrived, because I haven't opened it yet. It arrived just before I stopped for lunch, and I know what it is because I can see who it's from. So, well, I know kind of what it is. I'm assuming it's from Spectrum Fibres. So I'm assuming it's my club shipment, but I've also placed a custom order from them. But the customer was only like a week ago, so I don't think it's that. And it is about the time for the July club to arrive, because it is now a week into August. So I'm hoping this is the July club. Yes, it is the July Fibre in the Tropics Club. I said last month, when last month's arrived at the end of June, that I was considering cancelling and I couldn't make up my mind. When I get the email saying the next month is due because it's an auto renewal thing, I only get the email like the day, I think, before the payment goes out, so you have to be quite quick to make up your mind, and I just wasn't sure. So before we look at that one, I can kind of see what colour it is through the thing, but let's look at the ones I've had so far. So I've got 6 months, so that's January, which I like, but it's not my favourite. Same thing with February. It's okay, but it's a little bit too peachy orangey for me, so not my favourite. March, April, May, June. Let's see what's what. So March, April, May, June. I love those three. They are absolutely gorgeous. Do really, really like them. I did ask before I joined the club whether it would be a fade, and I was told it wouldn't, but they would all go together. And I do think those two especially go really nicely together. And those two go really nicely together. But I do think these all go together. And I would consider using these in a project. It's DK. My original plan when I got it, decided to join up, was to get all 12 months and do a blanket. But I would wait a few months to see what the colour scheme was like. But I haven't started the blanket. And I don't want to start a blanket till I've finished my previous blanket that I've been working on, which is a crochet one. And I do have an idea for a blanket, but I don't know when I'm going to have time to start making it. And because I don't use DK yarn a huge amount, so I decided, even though I really like it and this base is gorgeous and this color is gorgeous, I decided that maybe 12 single skeins of DK yarn is a bit much, so I have actually cancelled. But at the end of July, when I got the invoice for August, I thought I was considering cancelling last month and then decided not to. So I thought, right, I'm going to cancel it this month. And then I'll probably, when the one for the end of August comes out, I'll probably end up regretting it. But we'll see. So this is the July colorway, and I love it. It's really bright green with some speckles, and I really, really like it. That is a beautiful green with some lovely speckles. So I do really like it. I'm just going to write the month on here so I don't forget. I do really, really like it, and I have enjoyed. There's only two that I'm a little bit not sure about. I also thought the first two were very different. Then there were three that were all kind of fairly pastel-y and speckled, and then last month was a bit more different again because it was pink. So that's what 7 months looks like. So I have decided to have a break. I bet you August will be an amazing bright pink, and I will really regret not joining again. But I'm just a little bit, as I've been trying to de-stash a bit this year and reduce my stash, I'm just a bit worried about actually getting around to doing what I plan to do with this. I plan to make a blanket. My worry is because so many of the colorways are really pastel-y, and even though I like that, I just worry about having a blanket that's really bright, light colors. I prefer a blanket that's maybe a little bit darker or brighter colors, because I think if it's light colors, it's going to get dirty quicker. So I don't know if I'll be doing a blanket with it. And then I thought, what else would I do with that many skeins of single? I don't tend to knit garments in DK yarn for myself because I tend to find it a little bit too warm. Although who knows, maybe I will do. So I have paused it now, so there won't be any more. But whether I rejoin in the future, who knows? I have ordered another skein from Spectrum Fibre. It's a custom dye. It was something I was kind of hoping I could knit before I go to Norway. I know what I want to make with it. I want to combine it with another skein I have from another indie dyer that I really, really like. And I think the two colorways will look really nicely together. Sorry, the lighting is a bit funny today. It was okay in here, and then got really sunny outside. Now it's gone cloudy again, and it's all messed with my lighting, but never mind. So yeah, I will share more about those plans for that custom order. Well, it's not a custom order. It was a dye to order colorway, but it looked gorgeous on the screen, and I think it'll go really nicely with something I have from another dye in the same base yarn. I am also, well, my advent calendar this year is a DK yarn So that's why another reason why I'm a bit worried about too many DK skeins, because I tend to use them less than 4-ply. So we have paused the Spectrum Fibre Club at the moment, but I do have 2 advents coming this year. I was going to do a third one. I have one in DK and I have a fibre one, which I'm quite excited about. And I was thinking about getting a 4-ply one, but I haven't got a 4-ply one yet. I was very tempted by the Spectrum fibre one. Several indie dyers I've noticed will do like a repeat of their advent in January. I really like last year's Little Grey Girl, and I seriously considered getting that in January when she did a special order for it, but I decided not to. I was very tempted by hers this year, but because the one she did last year was so gorgeous. But what I might do is just stick to the 2 I've got and then see which ones I like in the run up to Christmas, and then if any of them do special orders for their advents in January, I might treat myself then, but we'll see. But I do really like this month's or July's colorway of the Spectrum fibre. Let's talk about what I've been knitting. So first, let's have a look at my socks. So one of the projects I've been working on in the last week is a deadline design, and I can't share that. I'm mainly working on it in the evenings because it is knitted in a slightly fluffy yarn. So I'm being very careful, especially when I'm wearing things like this. Black sweater, black t-shirt. It's not ideal with you knitting with fluffy, colourful yarn. So I've got an old tea towel, kitchen towel, that I just drape over myself from like below my boobs across my lap when I knit with it, and that does seem to help. I still end up getting it covered in my fingers, and I have to make sure I go and wash my hands before I eat anything, because I did have a mouthful of fluffy yarn the other day when I was eating something, so I'm trying not to do that. So I mainly trying to work on that in the evenings, because then I'm less worried about getting fluff on me. And the times I've been out and about in the last week, I have worked on my rainbow sock, which is Simon's sock. I did find the label because I said I'd lost it, and I found it. We were getting into the car the other day and I saw it on the floor. I dropped it on the floor in the car a few weeks ago, and then I kept forgetting to look for it. I knew it was under the passenger seat, but we were getting in the car the other day and I happened to see it, so I picked it up. So I'm using West Yorkshire Spinners Signature 4-ply in colourway Rum Paradise. So let's pop that back in here. How far have I got? Oh, I've got to the where I put in the waist yarn for the heel. So I wasn't sure whether to do waist yarn for the heel or whether to do a gusset short row heel and then decrease the gusset. But I decided, because it's self-striping, if you do an afterthought heel, you can just knit in a piece of waist yarn. I use this thing called a ravel cord that I got from my knitting machine many years ago. You can see the yellow row there. Knit that in, carry on knitting, and then when you finish the sock, you go back, unpick that, and then knit the heel. And it means that it doesn't interrupt the self-striping. When you increase and decrease and stuff for the gusset and do heel flap and things like that, it does mess with your self-striping, because of the section that's kind of across the heel, you'll have fewer stitches, so it will mess up with your self-striping, and I didn't want to do that. So I'm doing an afterthought heel, which is what I normally do with self-striping yarn. So made good progress. I was there last week. I knitted on this. I went to Plymouth one day last week because I need to get my glasses adjusted. I've had a bit of a problem with this arm, and it was a bit wonky here, the screw here, and I'd been once and they'd tightened the screw and everything, but it was still wonky. So I went again, and I also asked them to tighten the glass a bit because it was sliding down, and now they've tightened them too much and it's rubbing a bit over here. But I'm also running out of contact lenses. I can't wear contact lenses every day, so I need to go back to Plymouth again this week to get them adjusted again, because they are I can feel it over my ear here, and it's annoying me a bit. So I need to sort that out this week as well. But while I was in Plymouth, I had a look around the shops, and then I popped into Marks and Spencer's. They have a cafe and they have an outside bit, so I sat outside in the shade and knitted a bit. And then I took it with me on Sunday. We went to Anthony House, which is a National Trust property, and I have a clip I'll show you in a minute. It's a National Trust property in southeast Cornwall near Tor Point, just across the river from Plymouth. And we went there with my sister-in-law and my father-in-law. At the end, we went into a coffee shop, and Vanessa and I got there a few minutes before the others to grab a table, and then we sat there while they were ordering and stuff. So I knitted a few rows then. So all the knitting I've done in the last week has been in Plymouth in the coffee shop, and at Anthony House in the coffee shop. So I'm just working on this when I'm out and about. I haven't worked on it in the house at all. We are going to Lincolnshire soon, so there'll be a lot of car knitting and maybe some out and about knitting then, so I'll take it with me. I would like to finish this before I go to Norway, so I could cast some for a new pair of socks to take with me to Norway maybe, but it depends on what else I take with me to Norway. But more about that in a few weeks' time, because we're not going for a little while yet. My other project, I moved into my Ho He & Co project bag because it was getting a bit big for the project bag I had it in. So I showed you this last week. Last week I was working on the back. I got to where that marker is. I finished the back to the underarm. I blocked it so I could measure it and make sure it was okay. So I did all that last week. Take the marker out and put it on the front instead. And then I picked up stitches for the front. And I hadn't really calculated how deep I wanted the neckline to be, but I kind of wanted similar to this really. And I knitted what I thought was the right depth, added the stitches at the front, did the neck shaping, added the stitches at the front of the neck, knitted all the stocking stitch, and then blocked it, tried it on, and decided it was just way too deep. So I ripped it out. So I ripped back a few more rows, re-knitted it again. I just did the lace section. I didn't do the stocking stitch section. Tried it on again, decided it was still too deep. So then I ripped it back a third time, and I haven't tried it on again. So let's do that now. So that is my shoulders. Yeah, that's the shoulder seam. So that is much better. Yeah, that is more where I want it. So obviously I will be knitting on an edging, so that will bring it in a little bit more, but that is much better. It was kind of coming down like down here, I think, before. So this is much better. And by the time I've knitted on an edging, that will be fine. So I'm very happy with that. I did have a bit of fun and games trying to match the colours. It doesn't match the back exactly. I've tried to match it, the colours up here, but you can see here I got this wide light pink creamy section, whereas here it went straight into purple. And I tried to work out so I could get about the same amount of pink and the same amount of purple. But you can see there's a bit less pink there and more purple, slightly more purple in the, hang on, where is it? Where is the shoulder? There, slightly more pink and less purple and a bit of light pink on that side. So it is very difficult unless you happen to get 3 balls that look exactly the same. It is very difficult to match it. So I had 3 of these balls in my online shop, and I needed 4, so I knew I had to order some more, so I decided to order 4. I chose one. I wanted to have pink up near my face, so I chose one that started with a pink, and the other 2 I had were different. So this was one of the other ones I had, which is the 3rd one I'm going to be using because it's so messy, so I'm going to use that. The 4 I ordered that turned up were these, so they all look completely different, don't they? So the one I had were probably similar to that, although it went from the pink into the creamy light pink color. So you can see they're all different, which is why if you're going to knit with this yarn, especially if you're going to knit a garment, you have to be prepared for the fact that you can't match the front and the back and each side of the front perfectly, because they're just all different. I could have asked my supplier if they could try and pick out 4 that were roughly the same, but I didn't want to be too difficult because that's a very small wholesale order to place. I just ordered those 4 because there wasn't anything else I needed at the moment, and I'm placing a bigger order in September for YarnAddict, so I just ordered those 4 just to make sure I'd have enough for this sweater. So I'm very happy with it. I would like to get this down to the underarm on the front today, but I think that might be too much. We might be popping out for a bit tonight as well, so but hopefully by the time you see this next week I will have joined at the underarm, and then I can just knitting stocking stitch in the round. I may go back and do the neckline before I knit it too far, so that when I try it on for length and fit and things, it's easy if you have the neckline. I think it's a good idea if you're knitting on an edging or something around the neck to do that fairly early, so that when you try it on you can get a proper idea of fit. So I think I'll probably do that, and then when we're going to Lincolnshire as soon as I think I said, so by that point I'll be just knitting stocking stitch in the round, which should be perfect car knitting and evening knitting and whatever. It's about 8 hours drive each way without stopping, so, and I will have to do some of the driving, but Simon will do probably more than me, so I will get quite a bit of knitting because that's 8 hours each way, so I should get quite a lot of knitting on it. When I thought I finished the front to the underarm the other day, I was like, oh, I'm making really good progress. Maybe I can finish this before we go to Lincolnshire. And then obviously I've ripped back twice since then. So no, I don't think I'm going to finish it before we go to Lincolnshire. But I definitely should be able to finish it before we go to Norway. But I do have to really put some effort in over the next week on this deadline project, because I would like to finish that before we go to Lincolnshire. So that is all I've been knitting this week. I released my, hang on, where is it? There it is. I released my joyful shawl last week. Had internet problems last week. Kind of wrote off last week as a work week. We had 2 days without internet. One day I went to the library to edit or to upload a video to YouTube, to upload the podcast to YouTube, and list this pattern. I managed to list it on PayHip, but I couldn't list it on Ravelry. I used my phone as a hotspot for my laptop at home on the Tuesday, and then on the Wednesday I went into the library and worked from there for the morning and uploaded my YouTube video, the podcast episode for last week, and listed this on Ravelry and did a few other things, wrote my newsletter and stuff. And then Thursday I went to knitting group, Friday I went to Plymouth. I didn't get much work done last week, so it's a big catch-up week this week. But this is the joyful shawl. It's knitted in one skein of Allegria. Video was on my YouTube channel on Tuesday this week, where I talk about this shawl and I share a tutorial for how to do the edging. The tutorial is linked in the pattern for how to do the edging, because it has like 3 beads in a row. I tried to line them up in the center of that elongated cross stitch. So the video was out on Tuesday. I talked about this design, the yarn I knitted it with. I think I'll show you some other yarn options. It's just a one skein shawl. So if you have a skein that has about 400 meters per 100 grams, it'll be perfect. Asymmetrical shape, nice little shawl, quick and easy to knit. I knitted it when I was in Norway in May and I really enjoyed it. And it's my first self-published pattern release for ages. So that video is on YouTube. I will link it at the end of this video and below. So if you haven't checked it out, do go and check it out. And the pattern is available from Payhip or Ravelry. It is 25% off until the 11th, which is a few more days because it's the 6th, my film's 7th, it'll be 8th I think when this video is out. So you got a few more days to take advantage of the 25% off. The discount code is on the pattern page, so do check there. And it's also in my newsletter, so don't miss out. Go and get the pattern while it's still discounted. As it is my birthday this month, it's not for 2.5 weeks yet, there's a little bit of time yet, but I thought as I'm going away later this month, I thought I would do a bit of a special offer to celebrate my birthday. So for the rest of this, well, from today till the 29th of August, you can get 15% off my website. So everything on my website is 15% off. 15% off my online courses. That discount will run right through till the end of August. And then 25% off all my patterns from Ravelry and Payhip. So I'll put all the details and the link below, and I'll also put what the code will be below as well. My online courses includes successful brioche knitting, continental knitting with Norwegian and continental pearl, finishing techniques, successful lace knitting, Scandinavian stranded colorwork and steeking, and successful socks. So I will link the page that has all the online courses on them. 15% off till the end of this month, 50% off my website till 29th of August, and 25% off all my patterns till the end of August as well. So I'll put all the details below. Don't forget, I have still got quite a lot of stuff in my D-stash. There's still a huge stack of books here, and there's quite a lot of fabric, and there's still a fair bit of yarn left, although a lot of the yarn has sold. I have had a bit of a glitch with the website, so just to be aware, if you're ordering from abroad, I specifically had a problem with the US. 2 people have placed an order where for books where it set the postage to 0. International postage at the moment is ridiculously expensive. It's got to a point where it's almost not worth sending stuff abroad really, because it's so expensive, and obviously books are heavy. So after the first time it happened, I checked and I made some changes to my website, and then I tested it and it seemed to be working. And obviously that person, thank you very much if you're watching, agreed to pay the postage. I said I can either cancel the order or I can invoice you for the postage, but I can't afford to do free postage to the States because it would have cost more than what I charged for the books. So that makes no sense at all. And then, but then it happened again, and I don't know why it happened again. I've tested it again and it seems to be working, so I don't know why it happened again. But just in case you're ordering from abroad, if you put the postage at 0, that's incorrect, and I will be contacting you to tell you what the postage is. And then if you decide it's too much and you want to cancel, that's absolutely fine. I don't know what else to do. I've tried to fix it. I thought I fixed it. It looks like I fixed it, but who knows? So just make you aware of that, especially if you order some more heavier books. It may be because yarn is relatively light compared to books. So I charge the actual postage cost on my website. So I weigh the yarn and put in the weight of the yarn, and then it adds it up and calculates the postage. Well, if you buy a couple of books, that's more than like the maximum weight for postage normally is, and I think that's probably what happened. Then you just set it to 0 rather than just setting it to the maximum postage charge. Anyway, hopefully I fixed it now, but just to make you aware. So I will link my D-stash page below. I also have all this beautiful yarn. I got loads of sab ball yarns, sab ball, regular sab ball cotton, and a few other yarns. Yarn, which I use for my clutch bags and things like that. So do go and check it out. I will link everything below. and don't miss out on the discount. That is it for this week. Thank you very much for joining me. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.